Okay, let's unpack this. We're diving into something really specific and incredibly relevant right now, AI at work. Specifically, we're pulling insights from a recent event held right here in Budapest, actually, at the Irish Embassy.
That's right. Anikó Woods and Tara Siddons-Dayton were presenting to a room full of professionals.
Yeah, and they were tackling those big questions everyone seems to be grappling with. How do we move beyond just like clicking buttons or typing prompts?
And actually work with AI. What does that really mean day to day for how we get things done, the tools we pick, even the rules we need to follow now?
Exactly. So if you've been playing around with AI tools, maybe feeling a bit, I don't know, overwhelmed or frustrated you keep getting generic stuff back.
Or just wondering how it all fits into the bigger picture for your business, your career maybe.
Yeah, then this deep dive is definitely for you. We've gone through the key points from that embassy presentation, try to distill the most important nuggets.
Yeah. Giving you a bit of a shortcut, really. Getting you up to speed on these crucial topics, straight from experts talking about it in a real-world context.
Let's jump right in then. Anika's core message seemed to challenge a pretty fundamental assumption people have about AI.
It really did. She kicked things off saying something that definitely made people lean in. I don't use AI, I work with it.
Okay, work with it. That sounds like a small difference, just one word, but what does that distinction really mean in practice? How does changing that word change things?
Well, it sort of reframes everything, doesn't it? It's the difference between treating AI like, I don't know, a vending machine. You put something in, you expect something specific out,
Right. Input, output, done.
versus seeing it as more of a collaborator,
Uh,
maybe a fast-thinking teammate or an assistant you actually interact with. She argued the underperformers treat it like that vending machine.
Expecting instant magic.
Yeah, and the high performers, they
Yeah.
approach it like a collaborator. They engage with it.
So it's shifting from seeing AI purely as like automation just doing repetitive stuff faster.
To augmentation, where it enhances what you can do.
Yeah.
Makes you smarter and more capable, hopefully.
Right. And Anikó pointed out something quite unique about AI software itself.
That it teaches you how to use it while you're using it. It kind of adapts to you as you learn to work with it.
That's fascinating. So it's not really designed to replace smart people.
No, the idea is it helps smart people work even smarter. It could be like this powerful second brain. But, and this is the key,
There's always a but.
only if you genuinely engage in that collaboration.
The big if. So what happens if you don't collaborate? If you just sort of hand off the thinking, what does that pitfall look like?
That's the real danger zone, apparently. If you use AI to do the actual thinking for you, write the whole report, draft this trinity, analyze the data, without you being involved in shaping it.
You just take the output.
Exactly. Then you lose the ability to explain why the output is what it is. You can't really stand behind the logic or the assumptions because, well, you aren't part of the thinking process.
And that's a massive red flag in any professional setting. You have to be able to explain your work. So what were her key practices then? How do you avoid that trap?
She was pretty clear on this. 4 main things. 1, use AI as a research assistant, not a replacement for your own analysis.
Okay, assistant, not replacement. Makes sense.
2, always be able to explain any AI-generated work you deliver. If you can't explain it, you shouldn't be submitting it.
Good rule.
3, keep practicing your own core skills. Critical thinking, writing, strategy, whatever they are for you. Don't let them get rusty.
Don't outsource your brain completely.
Right. And 4, treat AI output as a sophisticated first draft. Never, ever the final answer.
Because the real risk isn't necessarily like AI instantly taking your job tomorrow.
It's more subtle. It's you slowly eroding your own valuable skills by outsourcing cognitive tasks without even noticing. Like, she's the analogy of phone numbers.
Oh, yeah.
How we used to know dozens, right? Now most of us struggle to remember our own unless the phone tells us. We outsource that memory function.
That's a sharp point, and it links right into another big challenge she covered. The whole garbage in, garbage out thing, the GI go.
Oh, this is so common. People dive in expecting AI to read their minds. They type some vague 2-sentence prompt.
And then they're disappointed when the output is bland or just, well, useless.
Yeah. She had a great analogy for this, too. Imagine asking an intern, right? An enthusiastic one, but they haven't slept in days, and their only source is Wikipedia.
Okay.
They'll give you something, for sure, and they'll sound confident about it. But the quality,
Yeah.
the relevance, it completely depends on how clear, how detailed, how well-structured your instructions were.
So expecting magic from a vague wish is the problem. The insight here is that AI doesn't mean less thinking from you.
It actually demands better thinking,
Yeah.
more clarity up front about what you're trying to achieve. Framing the problem well becomes even more critical.
Exactly. The focus shifts. It's not just typing a search query anymore. It's about refining, clarifying, really collaborating to guide the AI. But sometimes, even if you give it great input, AI just, well, it makes things up, right? The dreaded hallucinations.
Ah, yes. That definitely came up in the event. AI hallucination. It's when the AI spits out false information that sounds incredibly plausible. Looks a
Cites studies that don't exist, makes up quotes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's crucial to understand why. It's not lying in the human sense. It's just predicting the next word based on patterns in the data it was trained on.
Yeah.
It doesn't know facts.
It's just guessing eloquently, as someone put it.
That's a good way to describe it.
Yeah.
So the solution isn't to panic or ditch the tools. It's to build workflows that assume this can happen. The absolute key takeaway: don't panic, but verify.
Every single time.
Every single time. You have to build in that human check.
And there are tools emerging to help with this, aren't there? She mentioned a few.
Yeah, tools like Perplexity or Elicit, which try to ground their answers in real, verifiable sources. And this concept called retrieval augmented generation, or RAG. Yeah, basically it means you give the AI specific documents, your documents, trusted sources to draw answers from, instead of just its general vast training data. Makes it much less likely to invent things.
Okay, that makes sense. But the warning still stands, right? AI lets you move super fast.
Which means if you're not careful with that verification step, you're just speeding up your ability to make mistakes, potentially big ones.
To make this all less abstract, Anikó shared a pretty detailed example from her own work, writing her ebook, How to Hungary.
Right, and this wasn't just like banging out a few blog posts. This was a massive project.
Yeah.
Over 375 pages, I think.
Something like that. Managing hundreds of links, dealing with stuff in multiple languages, including Hungarian legal documents.
Policy updates constantly changing. Weaving in her personal insights, her specific writing style. It was complex.
And the extra challenge she highlighted, especially now in 2025, is just the sheer volume of noise online, so much of it generated by AI itself.
Right. It can sometimes take longer to actually read and understand a piece of content than it took an AI to generate it in the first place. Frightening, really.
Which is why she stressed moving up what she called the knowledge work value chain. Input, processing, output, feedback. It's not just about hitting generate.
I have to master the whole flow.
And her 5-step AI workflow for the processing stage of that ebook project was a perfect illustration of working with AI and managing that value chain.
Okay, walk us through that. How did she actually use these different AI tools for such a complex job?
Right, so step 1, Elicit. She used that as a research assistant, specifically for finding credible academic studies, summarizing papers quickly, expert-level research support.
Got it. Finding the solid foundation.
Step 2, Notebook LM from Google. This let her upload all her raw material, the Hungarian docs, her draft chapters, policy papers, everything. And then she could ask questions directly to those documents, like, find me the section on residency permits, or summarize the key changes in this policy, extracting specific info she needed.
Ah, so interrogating her own source material using AI. Clever.
Step 3, ChatGPT. This was where she brought information together, did summaries, rewrites, but crucially worked with it to get the output into her specific voice and tone.
The refinement stage.
Exactly. Step 4, Claude. She mentioned using this as a cross-checker, especially for checking the logic and flow of longer arguments or sections, like a second pair of digital eyes on the structure.
Makes sense. Different models have different strengths.
And then the absolutely vital 5th step.
Let me guess. Her own brain.
Her own brain. Absolutely essential for the tone, the market understanding, the overall strategy, making sure it actually resonated with the intended audience for the book.
And that feedback loop was key, wasn't it? Refining, pushing back, even asking the AI to critique its own suggestions.
Yes. That iterative process, it wasn't just taking the first output, it was shaping it, guiding it.
So the end result wasn't generic AI mush. It was smart, nuanced, expert-level content. Because it started with expert inputs and was constantly guided by human expertise and intent.
It really hammers home that point. AI's first answer is almost never its best. You don't get the value by treating it like Google search. You have to collaborate, refine, push back,
Guide it.
And she shared a brilliant prompting technique for collaboration. Instead of just telling the AI what to write,
She uses a prompt like, you are an AI expert on whatever the topic is. Ask me questions until you have enough context to turn obvious recommendations into non-obvious ones. Something like that.
That's really smart. It forces the AI to act like a strategic partner, helping you clarify your own thinking, figure out what you actually need.
It's using AI to help you use AI better, which is something other software doesn't really do, right? Like Excel can't teach you Excel.
But ChatGPT can teach you how to write a better prompt.
Exactly.
That's a great way to put it. So maybe for you listening, a practical thought here is, think about one task you do every week that you just hate.
We all have
This is
them.
the one task that you sort of hate doing each week. When I ran through this presentation and asked my husband, what did you say, darling?
Making the bed.
Correct. Unfortunately, there was not an AI application for this. But for other people, sometimes it is, like preparing your invoices or, research or some admin task. And I always think that this is a great place to start with your AI. Don't hand over the things you love. Hand over the things that you hate, that are boring, that are tedious. You know what I mean? Like that's a great place to really start taking advantage of that tool, because no other software helps you use AI, but AI can. You can ask it, how do I make this better? How can I make this easier for myself? What is a better prompt I can give you? Or what should I be asking you to get these answers? So
Anikó also shared her actual tool stack, didn't she? The specific software she relies on.
Yeah, it was a really practical list showing how different tools fit into that workflow. Things like ChatGPT and Gemini for the core writing and refining.
Standard stuff.
Elicit and Notebook LM as her research powerhouses. Perplexity for natural language web searching.
Okay.
And then tools where AI is integrated into specific business functions. Zapier for automation between apps. MailerLite for email, Designer for ebooks, Canva and CapCut for visuals, video.
Adobe Acrobat for PDFs, Midjourney, DLE for images, Durable or WordPress for websites, a whole ecosystem.
Right, but the point wasn't just the list. It was that these are tools chosen because they integrate AI in ways that genuinely save her time or elevate the quality. They help her work with technology effectively.
And she made a really important point about security, too.
Yes. Critically important. Not everything should just be pasted into a third-party cloud tool, especially sensitive client or company data.
For businesses handling confidential info, looking into secure internal AI solutions is becoming crucial. Often means working with specialized partners, but it's necessary.
Yeah, which actually brings us nicely to something that came up in the Q&A at the embassy event, trying to clear up some confusion around terms. AI, automation, agentic AI.
Oh yeah, they get jumbled up all the time. But understanding the difference is pretty key to picking the right approach, the right tool.
So how did they break it down? Automation first.
Automation is basically rule-based. Think of it like a robot assistant following a fixed recipe or set of steps you've programmed. Step A, then B, then C.
Predictable, repetitive tasks.
Exactly. Great for that, but zero flexibility or intelligence beyond those preset instructions.
Okay. Then AI, as we've been discussing.
AI is decision-based. It's smarter, more flexible. It can create, summarize, reason, adapt based on the prompts and the data you give it.
More like that research intern we talked about. Understands instructions, finds stuff, suggests insights.
Right. It handles tasks where simple rules aren't enough, where you need some level of understanding or generation.
And then say, agentic AI. That sounds like the next level stuff.
It is.
Yeah.
This is more like a digital teammate. It doesn't just wait for your next command for every single step.
It takes initiative.
Yeah, you can plan a sequence of actions, make some independent decisions along the way, and execute tasks proactively to reach a goal you've set.
Wow. So what does an agentic AI need to do that?
Typically, it has a brain that's the language model like GPT-4 or something similar. It needs memory to remember context, past interactions, and it needs tools.
Tools, like software tools.
Exactly. Access to things that let it take action in the real world, send an email, update a spreadsheet, run an analysis, browse the web.
Okay, I see. So we're talking about things like Microsoft Copilot maybe having some simple agentic features.
Yeah, some early examples are emerging there. And you can imagine more sophisticated setups with multiple agents maybe collaborating on a complex project. The exciting part is that potential for technology to be a genuine partner that thinks alongside you and takes initiative.
So, quick recap. Automation fixed recipe. AI understands, reasons, responds to prompts. Agentic AI equals plans, decides, acts autonomously towards a goal.
You got it.
Yeah.
And the big theme tying it all together, smart humans working with these smart systems. That's where the really powerful results come from, much more than either could do alone.
A great example of where automation and AI are starting to blend is Zapier, right? That tool connecting different apps.
Absolutely. Zapier started as pure automation. If this happens in app A, then do that in app B. Simple rules.
Moving data around.
Moving data around. But now they've layered AI on top, and it's, well, transformative for what you can do. Their AI agent or copilot can orchestrate more complex workflows. It can chain multiple steps together, make conditional decisions based on AI analysis, like if the sentiment of this customer email is negative, do X. If positive, do Y. And it could use AI within the workflow to shape the data or the output.
Okay, give us a concrete example, like the one from the presentation.
Right, imagine someone fills out a lead form on your WordPress site. Zapier detects that that's the automation trigger.
Okay.
Then the AI copilot could take over. It might extract and clean up the data from the form fields. Maybe it analyzes the text in the comments field for keywords or sentiment using AI.
Ah, I see. So it understands the content of the data.
Exactly. Then, based on that clean data and analysis, it automatically creates a new contact in your CRM, like MailerLite, and maybe it even drafts a personalized follow-up email using AI to summarize key points from their form submission.
Wow, okay.
Then it could notify your sales team via Slack and maybe create a Google Doc summarizing the whole lead for easy reference.
Yeah.
All automatically.
And you could potentially even take it further, like if a lead mentions interest in a specific topic.
You could have Zapier trigger ChatGPT to draft a blog post outline on that topic for your content team. The possibilities expand hugely.
And the key thing is you can build these flows using natural language, right? No coding needed.
Mostly, yeah. The AI within Zapier helps you configure it. It enables summaries, sentiment checks, keyword tagging, smart decision-making inside the automation flow.
It makes that complex automation much more reachable for, well, normal business users.
Definitely. The visual builder helps, and the AI suggestions make it easier to figure out how to tweak things. AI isn't just doing tasks. It's making the automation itself more powerful and usable.
And Anikó helps clients actually set this stuff up.
Yeah, that's a big part of what businesses hire her for. Not just write this faster, but help us speed up this entire report process, or automate our newsletter production, or train our team to use these tools effectively.
So the value cuts across different industries, really. Better inputs, faster workflows.
Less time wasted on manual drudgery. More time for higher value work.
Anikó finished her part with a really interesting point about who actually makes the best AI users. It wasn't who I might have initially thought.
Yeah, she argued it's not necessarily the super technical people, the coders.
It's the curious ones.
The curious ones.
Yeah.
The creative problem framers, the people who are good at asking smart questions. Those core human skills, creativity, critical thinking, curiosity, become even more valuable now.
It really is about rethinking how you work. And she circled back again to that vital point about security.
Can't stress it enough. Secure internal AI for sensitive data, often needing specialized partners. It's a must-consider for many businesses.
Okay, so that covered Anikó's perspective, really focused on the individual mindset and workflow. Then Tara Siddons-Dayton took the stage at the embassy event.
And broadened the view, looking more at the business level, compliance, managing the human side of adopting all this.
And that mindset shift Anikó talked about from using to working with has massive implications for businesses, doesn't it? Especially around risk, responsibility, regulation.
Absolutely. It forces companies to look again at old assumptions about technology and control, which honestly is probably a good thing, a healthy process to go through.
Tara touched on the compliance side, mentioning the EU AI Act, the European Accessibility Act.
Whether you're just exploring AI or already using tools like ChatGPT in your daily work, the EU AI Act and the European Accessibility Act apply to you. I'm not going to lie to you, these acts are coming in, and as we all know, Rome was not built in a day, so they are changing, and everyone is getting their heads around it. I think it's sort of, you remember when the data protection laws all came in and we all were like, ah! And we were talking to lawyers and everything like that. It is confusing now. But hopefully it'll cool its jets and we will get to understand it. Anikó and I are actually working on quick audits, checklists and plain language guidance that make these rules approachable. So if you do want to talk about it more, then do.
But the direction of travel is clear. Businesses need to engage.
But her message wasn't about creating fear, right? It was more about practical steps.
Yes, definitely. Compliance doesn't have to be this overwhelming, paralyzing thing. Businesses need practical, clear guidance. She mentioned they offer things like quick audits, simple checklists, plain language
Yeah,
resources.
basically trying to make the rules approachable.
Yeah, that offer to the audience was quite direct. Want a second set of eyes? That's what we're here for, making compliance support accessible.
And echoing Aniko's focus on tools, Tara talked about building your company's smart stack.
Right, but at the organizational level, choosing tools based on what different teams actually need. Content creators need different things than the logistics team or the execs.
And each tool comes with its own set of risks, its own compliance angle.
Totally. There's no single best AI tech stack for every company. It has to be tailored to the specific tasks, the specific roles, and used responsibly within whatever framework the company sets up.
Her advice on choosing tools sounded very pragmatic, especially for smaller businesses.
Yeah, start with the free versions. Only pay for a subscription when you genuinely hit a wall, when the paid features unlock something you demonstrably need. She even joked about her own reluctance to sign up for subs easily.
Relatable.
And critically, don't just throw dozens of new platforms at your team. Keep it lean. Build a light, powerful toolkit that actually helps. Doesn't just add complexity.
Okay, but what about the people? The team? She tackled that big hurdle of resistance, didn't she? That no thanks reaction you often get with new tech.
Oh, yeah. She stressed that's completely normal. People naturally resist change, especially tech change that feels uncertain.
So how do you handle that? What was the advice from the event?
Start small was key. Find simple tasks where AI can deliver clear early wins. Show people, look, this saves you half an afternoon on that report, or
Yeah.
we got the newsletter draft done twice as fast.
Demonstrate the value quickly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And crucially, create psychological safety. Leaders have to be clear. This is a tool to help you, to augment your job, not to replace you.
Like her analogy with email back in the 90s.
Perfect analogy. People weren't replaced by email. Email became a fundamental tool that changed how work got done. AI is the next evolution of that kind of collaborative tool.
So involve the team early. Let them help shape how it's used.
Yes, foster ownership. And training is absolutely non-negotiable. But frame it as upskilling, as growing with the technology, not being left behind by it.
And keep hammering home the unique human strengths.
Empathy, critical thinking, complex problem-solving, storytelling. The things AI supports but doesn't replicate. And be really clear about what tasks should not be fully automated.
Which leads right into her point about keeping it human where it truly matters. What was the guiding principle there?
Simple but powerful. If trust is required, don't fully outsource it to AI.
Okay, so examples. What kinds of decisions or tasks fall into that category?
Think about high-stakes decisions needing real empathy and nuanced judgment. HR decisions, complex ethical calls, building and maintaining deep client relationships.
AI can provide data for those, maybe summarize information.
Exactly. It assists, it supports. But it should never make the final call or lead the interaction in those deeply human domains. Confidentiality, ethical codes, those are paramount.
AI is the assistant, not the conscience.
Well put. And ultimately, these areas rely on that uniquely human strength, just plain old common sense, which AI still lacks.
Tara then shifted to looking ahead, right? Some fast-moving trends for the next 12 months or so.
Yeah, she highlighted 4 key areas likely to impact businesses significantly. First, multimodal AI.
Meaning AI that understands more than just text.
Right. Text, images, audio, video understanding and processing them together. Like how we humans use multiple senses. It makes AI much better at tasks needing complex context.
Like analyzing customer feedback that includes photos and text.
Exactly. Or understanding a whole marketing campaign across video, social posts, ad copy. Connecting those dots leads to better insights, better decisions.
Okay, multimodal AI. What was next?
Personal AI agents. We touched on this earlier.
Yeah.
These go beyond simple commands. They learn your context, your preferences, and can proactively plan and execute tasks for you.
Like that super assistant example, monitoring email, drafting briefings.
Yeah, an agent that anticipates your needs based on your calendar, your documents, your communications. A proactive partner.
That's a trend.
Open source AI models. These are models where the underlying code is public. Developers can inspect it, modify it, improve it, adapt it.
She used the Lego bricks analogy versus the locked iPhone.
Right. Open source offers flexibility, control, transparency. And crucially for some businesses, security.
How so?
She gave that example of a mid-sized legal consultancy. Instead of sending sensitive client contracts to a third-party cloud AI,
Which might be a huge data privacy no-no.
they could take an open-source model like Mistral or Lam A3, run it securely on their own internal servers, and fine-tune it with their specific legal jargon.
Creating their own secure in-house AI assistant for summarizing documents or drafting clauses.
Exactly. Protecting data, speaking the industry language, without needing a massive enterprise budget for every single AI task, it opens up possibilities.
Makes sense. And the fourth trend?
Voice-first design. Basically designing interactions where voice is the main way you engage.
Like ordering coffee by just talking to a system.
Or her example, a local bakery, where regulars can just call and say, order my usual for Friday. It makes interaction smoother, faster, more natural. Big potential for customer convenience and business efficiency.
And the point was, these aren't sci-fi concepts. They're happening now, impacting businesses.
Definitely. And she also made that great point about how we're all already using AI constantly, even if we don't label it that way.
Busting the myth that AI is some distant futuristic thing.
Yeah. Netflix recommendations.
Yeah.
Google search completion. Website chatbots. Face ID on your phone. Siri or Alexa. Your email spam filter.
That's all AI.
It's already woven into daily life, often invisible, often helpful. So the barrier to entry for using it more intentionally at work isn't as high as people might think. You're not starting from zero.
You just need to notice where it's already helping and think about where else it could.
Precisely.
And she did circle back to the EU AI Act one last time.
Just to reinforce, if you use AI for work, even basic tools occasionally, the Act applies. Compliance isn't optional.
But focus on the core principles makes it manageable.
Transparency, accountability, human oversight, those are the keys. And again, highlighting that resources like templates and training exist to help businesses navigate it.
She also quickly mentioned her TARA method again.
Technology, awareness, reality analysis, a framework for thinking through adoption.
And introduced the Anikó method as the next chapter.
Yeah, it's sort of complementing TARA. Advancing novel intelligence, knowledge, optimization, just different ways to structure your thinking about bringing AI into the workflow effectively.
Okay, so after both presentations, they opened it up for questions from the professionals in the room at the embassy.
And this is often where you get those really specific, locally relevant nuggets, right?
Absolutely. And Anikó apparently brought up data specifically about AI adoption right here in Hungary, which must have really hit home for the Budapest audience.
Yeah, providing that crucial local context. What did the data show?
Well, firstly, while Hungarian SME AI adoption is rising, it's still lagging quite a bit behind the overall EU average. Around 3.7% of businesses here, apparently.
Okay, so room for growth.
Definitely. But here's the kicker. The data also showed that those Hungarian SMEs already using AI, they're growing roughly 23% faster than their peers.
Wow, 23%. That's a significant advantage.
Huge, especially noticeable benefits in areas like marketing and customer service. AI is already measurably cutting down task time in customer service roles, and for creative SMEs like translation or graphic design.
So the benefits are tangible, even now.
Very much so. And the forecast is for a rapid acceleration of AI-driven changes around 2026, 2027.
So the pace is only going to increase.
That was the message. Workers and companies here in Hungary who get on board proactively stand to gain real edge. Those who delay, well, they risk falling behind. Potential job restructuring, loss of competitiveness.
Did she mention any official bodies commenting on this?
Yeah, apparently the Hungarian Competition Authority has actually warned local SMEs that if they don't embrace AI, they risk losing ground to the big multinationals who are moving faster.
That's quite a stark warning from the government.
It is, and it aligns with global trends. PwC's 2024 AI Jobs Barometer found that AI-exposed sectors globally are seeing productivity surges, even wage premiums up to 25% for workers with AI skills.
But the flip side.
Slower job opening growth in those same sectors, suggesting a definite shift, maybe displacement in certain roles is happening. It's not just growth, it's transformation.
And Hungary's national strategy acknowledges this.
Yes, the national AI strategy has goals for raising awareness among 1 million citizens, training 100,000 in basics, really emphasizing leveraging human skills alongside the tech.
So the data presented at the event painted a really clear, compelling picture for the Hungarian professionals there.
Yeah. The AI shift is real, the benefits of adopting early are measurable here in Hungary, and there are genuine risks to competitiveness if businesses don't keep pace.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this deep dive up, summarizing the key insights from Anikó and Tara's presentation at that Irish Embassy event.
The big one seems to be that fundamental shift. Stop just using AI. Start actively working with it as a collaborator.
Which means focusing on quality inputs, constant human oversight, verifying outputs to catch those inevitable hallucinations.
Understanding the compliance landscape the EU AI Act applies even if you're just dabbling. Strategically choosing your tools, building that smart stack.
Empathetically managing team adoption, overcoming that natural resistance, and never, ever losing sight of the crucial human element. The creativity, the critical thinking, the empathy, the common sense, AI just can't replicate.
Right. This deep dive really aimed to give you that shortcut, distilling the key insights from experts discussing these things in that real-world Budapest setting.
So given everything we've heard, the potential AI offers for growth, the warnings about falling behind, especially with that local Hungarian data.
Maybe the final thought for you to consider is this. How will you start taking steps, maybe even small ones right now, to proactively integrate AI into how you work, how your team works?
Focusing on that human-AI collaboration, not just automation.
To make sure you're not just trying to keep up, but actually building an advantage in this landscape that's changing so incredibly fast.
Something to think about.
Definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.